Today we're talking a little bit about quality of life and how we think about art in the ability to enhance people's quality of life. And so I'm here with an artist, Thomas Patrick Murphy, otherwise known as Tom Murphy. Any other nicknames people had for you over the years?
No,
All right.
not since I was a teenager, but we'll
Fair
just
enough.
forget that.
Yeah, exactly. We'll forget those now. And so Tom, maybe let's start off with what is the definition of art to you?
Art is something that opens your eyes to look at it twice, that excites you, and it does that in a variety of ways. Color has meaning for lightheartedness, for enjoyment, for sadness, and all parts of our human nature are expressed in art because it was a human that drew them, it's a human that felt it, and all we're trying to do is see inside the artist and where he came from.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a refuge. I came here to the Edward and I looked at the walls, they were white, and I thought, if nothing else, I'm bringing my paintings with me.
They were a canvas, right? A canvas to do
yeah.
what you'd like with them. Yeah.
Not a painter. I'm not a painter, I'm a collector.
Yes.
And it started back in a teenage year when I ran into an artist on 8th Avenue painting singular tone of brown with some white. And he created a scene of a lake and trees, and I was so enamored with that.
And do you still have that piece today?
No, I don't. I actually, when we moved in here, I brought as many canvases as I could, and the rest I sold or gave away. Somebody latched onto that in my home and said, it really grabbed me. So
Yeah.
I said, okay, you can have that.
Art is interesting that way, isn't it?
It
To
is.
your point, it's certain pieces just speak to you
Yeah.
in a way that others don't. But it's fascinating.
Yes, and I was well aware of my financial limitations in terms of I'm not going to have a master of any kind. So my alternative was to find local artists. There are a dozen shows popping up in community centers of art clubs that have worked over the winter, and now they're displaying for sale. And I could probably walk through 2 or 3 years of those exhibits and not buy anything, because their imagination and their desire in paintings was not meeting my criteria. But when I did, I bought from those people, and I bought from dealers in Banff, and I bought from Vancouver, and I bought from Lethbridge, Edmonton.
How many pieces have you bought in your lifetime?
I have 52 pieces in my suite at the moment,
Okay.
plus sculptures and pottery and furniture. So I sold 60 pieces.
Wow. Okay.
I just didn't have the room,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah, totally.
and it was a tough choice, but we went through it, and it came together quite nicely. My daughter Lisa has a business in East Calgary called Loft 112. She has an incubator there for artists and writers, and
interesting.
so
Okay.
she runs in a complimentary crowd to me, that she does it and I want to do it. But I've received some of the benefits of that. I have a piece of a cowboy getting the bull ready for the Calgary Stampede that was done by a homeless person who scrounged everything he could to get enough paint and frames and canvases that he could continue painting. So Lisa had a show of his work, and I was able to get a piece.
Yeah.
She had a showing as well by John Roxburgh, I think. Roxburgh. He's a a Dene Indian from Great Slave Lake
Okay.
area. Grew up in a foster home, but went back to his roots to discover that, and did so in the form of painting. So I have a piece of his on my
Interesting.
wall.
They have meaning to you.
Very, yeah, large meaning.
What are some of your favorite artists?
From the masters, I guess, my daughter took me to Edmonton to see Van Gogh in the big exhibit. His work is so broad, and
Yeah.
the yellows that he uses, and the flowers, the profiles. I mean, his self-portrait was
Yeah.
amazing as well.
I have my own little Van Gogh story for you. We recently got a chance to take the kids to see the Van Gogh museum, and I have two daughters, 7 and 4.5, and both of them decided to sit down in front of the sunflowers. There were hundreds of people watching these things, and they just sat down and they started drawing at the base of the sunflowers, just their own version of the sunflowers. They didn't care anyone around them. The world didn't matter, but they were just so entrenched in just like, and it was their way of engaging with that art. And
Yes.
it brought tears to my eyes, but it was also just such a cool thing to see that art can speak to, the same piece of art can speak to people in so many different ways.
I'll turn that around back to Canadian artists, and that's who I've spent a lot of time looking at and buying from. Claude Simard was a gentleman that was introduced to me online by a friend who had, and Claude Simard grew up in a small eastern township place called Le Touque.
Yes.
The Hat.
Yes.
And he was a designer, and during his career, but took to painting upon retirement. And he and a group of them would travel around the eastern townships and Quebec City and bigger, and put up a display area on the streets and sell the paintings. I have about 8 works of his. He was brought in by Gainsborough Gallery when they were down on 6th Avenue in town for a showing, and I had him over for dinner, and had my family with them because they were all fans of his.
Yeah.
And so we had a great evening, and I have many pictures of him sitting in front of his paintings in our home.
So your home, as you said, is filled with art. What does it mean to you?
It gives me solace. When my wife passed away, I could sit in our family room in my home and look at the walls around me and just relax.
Yeah.
And just remove the tension that was building.
In what way, to that effect, does art enhance quality of life for you?
It fills a void. One of the things I've found since my wife passed away was loneliness. It's not as vibrant as it was as a couple. You're a third wheel sometimes, and you need 2 to play bridge.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. So it was one of the reasons why I moved here, because there were people here of like mind, different stories, but same background, same reasoning. And so people are important to me, and being around, I'm social. I like that. And paintings fill in the gaps when you are by yourself.
Do you see art kind of benefiting seniors living at all, or the idea of art in an environment like this?
Yeah, very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Art and writing and stories are things that are presented to the human race, and they should take advantage of as much of it as they can. Even if they don't like it, they should look at it and try and find out where it might fit in their life.
Yeah.
Whether they can't, even if they can't have it, they can enjoy it.
Yes. Is there a favorite piece of art you have here on the walls at the Edward?
I don't know the name of it. It was behind the grand piano. I thought that was a background for a photograph,
Yes.
but it isn't.
No,
It's a painting.
not. It's actually the most expensive painting in this building.
Well,
It's
it might be.
crazy.
It might be, but
Yes.
it also demands attention.
Do you have any advice to people who are starting off on the direction of wanting to collect art? Like, what type of advice would you give people who have seen this, like, oh my God, I have to experience more art. Tom has convinced me it's important.
It's visit established art galleries now, only to discover what you like and don't like. And then there's and I can't think of the name. There's an art gallery down in the country, and they sell art, and they have art shows down there. And I've bought a few pieces from there. They have paintings hanging out in the clothesline, and the canvas pieces, and they put that up for sale to the public.
I think I need to come with you to the next Black Diamond art thing or otherwise, because I think it'd be great just to kind of see what you see through your eyes and what other people see, because I'm definitely just learning and thinking about it, but we're definitely seeing the beauty of, as you said, kind of not only filling the void, but being able to also see the world through that artist's eyes, as well as what and how they're expressing themselves. It's an incredible thing.
It is different. You know, it's not easy to stand in an artist's shoes. You know, because there's so many forms of art these days that you wonder, where did it come from? Where was he? Was he high? Was he, I mean, his left brain is out there just doing a dance and saying, we got to do this, you know.
Absolutely. It's incredible. Even like Van Gogh's story, right?
Yes.
When you read the story, I mean, he passed away at the age of like 38 or something.
Yep.
But just all the stuff, but yet incredible. And
well, and it was the crowd he hung around with too, you know.
It's also true.
I mean, the story in the French Bank and Toulouse-Lautrec and no, it was something else. But anyway, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for your time. That's beautiful. And I want to come and I really do want to come and see the Eric Simards of the world and the others. So I'm gonna I'll come and make sure I see. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OLTV. If you liked what you saw and you want to watch more, like this video and subscribe to the Optima Living channel right here on YouTube.